Hey, can you hear me? Look, check it out. Ignite Her has launched. It is 2025. I'm just picking up clothes from one of my friends who had some extra clothes to help out the Ignite Her program. If you have any gently worn business attire, clothes for women who are out here doing the work but maybe do not have the clothing that they need to get the job done, we need your old clothes. Hit me up in my inbox or through House of Peach. The program is called Ignite Her, where we provide clothing to women who may be transitioning from one job to the next and maybe don't have the means to buy clothes. It could be going from working at McDonald's to now working in an office. So we're looking for gently worn business clothes. Make sure y'all hit us up, all right? Please hit us up. We need those clothes. And check right below there. If you're not in the state of Delaware, you can mail them to us. Or if you're in Delaware, we'll pick them up. Y'all have a great evening.
Hey, don't mind me. I'm over here just dancing to the song. Welcome, House of Peach presents what? The Boss Ladies Lounge. And I am April, and I am happy, excited to be here this evening. We're live. It's time for the show. I'm glad y'all joined us. We have a great topic on this evening. How y'all doing? What's been going on? What's up? How has the week been from last Monday up till now? I can tell you, for me, it has been extremely busy, but it's been productive. It's been good. If you are coming on, I need you to do some stuff for me. I need you to help your girl out. We need you to like, tag, and share. We need to get as many people on this line as possible, because this topic that we are discussing tonight is going to be good, because I know for me personally, it resonates with me. We're going to have some guests on this evening, but we're going to do some housekeeping stuff. Hey, Mama Lane, how you doing? Hey, Jackie, my sister. Hey, y'all need to like, tag, and share this out. We have our folks coming on this evening, but listen, y'all know, and you should be used to this by now, but I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep reminding you, because I want you to be on every single Monday, unless we say otherwise, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central. We are on this platform. I'm live on my Instagram page. I'm live on my Facebook page. We're live on House of Peach page. We're live on Morgan's page. And guess what, y'all? We are even live on YouTube on the House of Peach page. So there's no way you can say, I didn't know. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to look. And also, too, y'all see that QR code up there? You see that? You might want to scan it, so you can now be subscribed to what's going on with the House of Peach. Y'all don't know what's going on behind the scenes here, but I am asking you I personally am asking you to come on and join us and join in the conversation. You not only have to join in the comment section, you can also come on the show with us. We are not so closed off and boxed in that we don't want other people come with their perspective. Now, I know that, some of the stuff that I say is good because sometimes it blesses me, but I also want somebody who's going to be, say, devil's advocate and kind of go up against me. And thank you, shout out to my girl Jackie, who told me, she said, April, why don't you try doing this? Why don't y'all try doing that? Thank you so much for the idea because it came over very well. Y'all listen, I got my girl here who has come back on the United States
I'm
soil. She's
back.
back, Morgan. I am so happy that you are back with good connectivity and not have to deal with what you dealt with there in Ghana. So she's back.
Yes, that was a bit much.
It was like, yo, are we going to be able to have her on or what? So tell us, how are you? What's going on? How you been? Let's talk about it.
Everything is good. I came home to a baby being born, and just it was as if I'd never left.
Yeah. Now listen, y'all, it wasn't her own baby. She
Yeah,
is the number one in the United States of America doula, and
I'll
she
take
will
that.
travel wherever to whomever, and you would want those anointed blessed hands of hers to help you in the delivery of your baby. If you don't want your baby to be delivered by, just anybody or supported by anybody, you might want to call her up and get her on the docket because she can come out there. Now, my second daughter, Zuri, my midwife that I had, as amazing as she was very a redhead, curly redhead chick, very sweet, high strung, high energy. And I promise you, that lady transferred that to my daughter Zuri because Zuri was all over the place when she was little. And she's 23 years old and still like that, like dun, 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 all over the place. So y'all, you want the right doula to be in the room to help you, and Morgan is that one. So now I have one. Now that you are back from Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
are you ready to go back to Ghana, or are you all right just hanging out here in Delaware for a little bit?
No, I'm ready to go back, and some opportunities have presented itself for a few other countries since I've
Is
been
that
back.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold up now. Hold up. You now listen, if anybody should know about this, I should not be hearing about this on this platform. Yo,
Look,
I'm
this
left
just
out.
happened in the last like
Do
24 to 48 hours.
Do
Like,
I need to go
fast.
get my passport to show you that I am passport ready? I got stamps. I need some more. Come on. Why
Let's
you?
go. Well, we putting at least three in there on one trip. I'm telling you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm all for it because hey, with me in surgery and you in the hey, we got it. We got it. We can do that.
Listen.
Hey, I'm not I am open to starting a surgical technology school over there. I have the means, the ability, the creativity, and the know-how, not to toot my own horn, but toot. Hey, the record, the receipts show it. So I can teach them how to adequately work in surgery and definitely how to do C-sections where the mortality rate is a whole lot better. Like the mothers really do well. We gonna talk offline. We're gonna talk offline.
Yeah, we have
Listen,
lots to
y'all.
talk
Listen,
about.
yeah, listen, y'all. Listen. Tonight, so I'm going to give credit to Maybach Mel, my friend over in Philly. He is phenomenal. I just love having a conversation with him. He's filled with so much wisdom and he sends me a lot of stuff. So we have been having conversations back and forth probably for a month now. And one of the messages he sent me with some ideas for content, one of them really stuck out to me. And that's how I came up with the topic for this evening. Do I measure up? So before we get deep into it, I did that. I got some stuff to do at the end. So we want to get into the meat of why we are here. Y'all not liking, tagging, and sharing because I don't see my numbers going up nowhere. So I'm gonna need y'all. I see folks over here on Facebook, but don't make me call you out. Don't make me call you out and put you out here on Front Street for tonight. So can you be obedient to the woman of God and like, tag, and share? I would be most appreciative. Now, before you say, well, did you do it? Yes, I did. That's how some of you are on, because I sent you the reminder to let you know. So we want you to come on in. We want you to participate in this conversation, whether you come on live or you put something in the comments. And even better, we never know who needs to hear what's going to be shared this evening. So without further ado, guest number one is all guest panelists who's going to end up being possibly permanent. We'll see after the night if she's not too spooked. But this person, I love her. She and I have been connected since she came on the show last year. And she came on the show. The next thing you know, I'm mentoring her. And now she and I, like, we act like we sisters. We call each other sister. You would have thought that we've known each other forever. So Kimberly Davis, also known as Abundance, is going to come on. I know she's in the waiting room here. Bring her on in. Oh my God, and she's looking so pretty. Hey, girl. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you.
I'm doing well. How are y'all? Hey, ladies.
We are great, great. Happy to have you on here. I want to maximize my screen, but then I won't be able to see all the comments on the side. So I just want to see a close-up of y'all. I'm going to do it anyway. Let me do a close-up. I'm going to do a close-up so I want to see my girls. Oh, yeah, I'm so happy. Is Maybach here? Has he come in yet? Let me know if he's there so I can bring him in. If not, we'll wait until he arrives. Not yet? Okay, well, we'll just keep going. Listen, so the topic for tonight is, do I measure up? Now, my friend John Michael Massey, I'm gonna put a little plug in there for him. He has a relationship conference call that he does every Saturday. This past Saturday, the conversation was on trust and insecurity. So then after I was on that call and then I listened to the messages from Maybach and he was talking about, do I measure up? It just made my ears stand up and it aligned. So we want to talk about measuring up, not only personally, whether it's for ourselves in a relationship, friendship, or whatever, but we also want to talk about it in business, because that is one of the areas that I know I deal with. You know, number one, here's the first thing. Morgan and I are doing a podcast. We've been doing this podcast for 2 years, right? So for 2 years. But guess what? There are so many other podcasts in the United States. So I've often wondered and often thought, do I measure up to even host something like this? Do I measure up to even participate in something like that? And I know that is a trick of the enemy to even get in that mindset, but it's a real thing that people deal with. So tonight, we're going to have an open forum. We're going to have open discussion. We're going to say what we need to say. Let's talk about business first, because all of us are entrepreneurs in some form or fashion. I have my consulting business, Envision You, and then Morgan, she's a doula, she's a chef, and everything else that's on her list that I shall not name, and we're going to be here forever. Then we have Kimberly, or Abundance. I'm sorry. Abundance. I'm going to get it right. She is an author and she has business mind, but she's just waiting before she launches out. And I'm going to give her an opportunity before I put my little pushing boot in her back and push her out there, because she's trying to play it safe. You know, we try to play it safe and, you know, we want to stay on the coast. We don't want to get in the water and swim. We want to take it easy. Let me just walk along the coast because I got my bearing. I don't want to get in the water and swim. So let's talk about measuring up and those things that hinder us or cause us to think that we are not worthy enough to do it. Because Morgan, there's a lot of doulas that I had no clue of. I wish I had a doula in the United States. There's a lot. If I had a doula, I probably would have done well when I had my first child because I I grabbed the nurse and she said, "No, baby, don't grab me, don't grab," because I literally was like, "Yo, what is this?" So, Morgan, I'm gonna let you talk first.
Um, so actually it's funny as I'm sharing this because for some reason it wasn't allowing me to do what I needed to do getting on here. Um, the funny thing is I think you have to ask what's your standard of measurement
Mm,
when you are asking yourself, do I measure up? You know what I
mhm,
mean? I think as a business owner, um, ooh, this is so good. Okay, so while in Ghana, I go to the market. Not a big market, but at least one um that's like like a downtown area, so to speak, right? And as you pass by, every stand has lettuce and mangoes, tomatoes, onions, avocados, pineapples, watermelon. Sometimes, like one will have pineapple, the other one have watermelon. Very rarely do you see one with like both. Then you'll have some lady that's got like apples or something, right? And I realized I was like, every single one of these stands also the same thing.
mm,
But the standard of measurement is just now really everybody's on the same plane. So what's going to make me buy her mango versus the other one? It's either that you've got a different type of mango, your prices are different, or I just happen to like this person over the other person. Because now at the
mhm.
same time, like a mango is a mango is a mango, right?
Right.
Lettuce is lettuce, the tomatoes are the tomatoes. So what's your standard of measurement, and understanding that there are going to be some times where you're in a space where, yeah, what you've got to offer, a lot of people are offering too. You know, a lot of people
Mhm,
are selling the same thing. So now what is it that you are doing to set yourself apart? There are a ton of doulas in the world, but I know that there aren't a lot of doulas that doula like me. There's a lot of doulas that have the same information I do, but they don't bring the same thing that I bring to the table, just like, I don't bring the same thing that they do. So, um, I think asking, are you enough, is a real an honest question that we should be asking, but we should be asking in the sense of, are we doing enough? Are we giving enough? Are we putting
mhm,
enough towards what it is that we're doing, but not necessarily comparing ourselves to others, seeing as though, where we're going, our ministry with things, what we're supposed to be getting out of certain things. Like, you never know. Sometimes you do stuff because it's a part of your healing. It has nothing to do with what your purpose actually is.
mhm.
So yeah, being careful about what you use as your standard of measurement when asking that question, I think will make or break getting the right kind of answer.
And it made, while you were talking, I thought about what you had said a while ago about business is that you're set, people are buying you. So if there's three in a line that all have the same fruit, the difference is you. The
Yeah,
difference isn't what you're offering, it's you. So you may have a more friendly, bubbly demeanor, countenance where people come, the look on your face is welcoming. So they're going to come regardless to the price of your items that you have because they want that you drew them. So
right,
even like you were talking about being a doula, you bring something to the table that other doulas may not. Like people feel like you care and you're 100% supportive and you're in their corner and you want the best for them. And you not only focus on the birthing one, but you're focusing on the partner as well, or the spouse, whatever the case may be. It's all inclusive. Whereas you may have other doulas who just focus on the birthing one and just leave it at that. And once it's done, they're gone. They just move forward. So we have to um, look at how we are presenting ourselves, how we are carrying ourselves. I noticed for me that when I went through the transformation that I did personally, I saw a difference in how people were drawn to me. It was
Mhm.
totally different than in my early 20s, my early 30s, even in my teenage years. Because, yeah, I had people talk to me, but it was more on a she's a nice girl, she's sweet. But now that I come in and it's like, now everybody's like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. I was waiting for you. I didn't know if you were coming. It's like, whoa, back up. But when we are our true, authentic selves, then we don't need to measure ourselves by someone else. Just continue to work on you, continue to come
Yeah.
as who you are. Abundance. I know you got something to add to it.
So let me unmute myself. I think, honestly, do I measure up? I feel like it's a double-headed sword, right? Because honestly, we are always asking ourselves this question. At no point do we ask ourselves this question. If we start a new business, if we start a new relationship, even with our kids, we're always like, am I good enough? Am I, like, am I measuring up to the standard, right? So it kind of goes back to what Morgan said. Like, what are you basing this standard off of? And
Mhm.
usually it comes from our upbringing, right? It
Mm.
comes from, because really outside. Okay, so let me rephrase this, because it does come from our upbringing, but as we get older, society tells us different things, so
Mhm.
it makes us always feel like, am I good enough? Am I measuring up? So I definitely feel that, like Morgan said again, is like, what measuring tool are you using? Because
Mhm.
this is going to come up no matter what. We can all try to work through it. I feel like we have healthy ways to process and understand, like, when we do get in a situation, just like me, just like you said earlier when you were introducing me. I do have some business adventures that I'm about to partake in. So of course, when I walk into these things, I'm like, what do I bring to the table that these people that are inviting me into these spaces that are already doing? Do I measure up to this standard, right? So I guess that to me it was just like, it's 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 like a self check. First of all, like, again, I got a reference where you got to make sure you ground it in who you are, no matter if
Mhm.
you do ask yourself that question, because I feel like it's unrealistic to really tell people like, oh, once you're healed, you're not going to have that problem, or you're not going to ask yourself that question, because that's a lie. That
Mhm.
question is going to always come up.
Right.
So, number one, what is your measuring to? Number two, what are your standards to the measurement? And number three, be confident enough to know that if you're invited into this space, you belong there. So of course you measure up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. See, if the invitation was brought to you, and then we sometimes, if there's an invitation, because you talked about, well, why did they invite me? Why am I invited in this space? Well, they obviously see something in you, so you already met the standard. Because if you didn't meet the standard that they were looking for, or had the qualities that they were looking for, they would have never invited you in the first place. So that's when that boldness has to rise up. And I do a lot of talking to myself, y'all. I'm not crazy now. Don't think that now, because I can't get there. But no, I like to encourage myself, and like, you belong here. You were brought to this space. Every place that we've been or invited to, there was a reason why. There's a reason, there's a purpose. So social media, and I'm going to talk about social media, has its good, bad, and ugly that it has in the world today. So if you continue to look at relationships, you continue to look at other businesses and all of these things, and you start to compare yourself to that, when you don't need to. There, you are a totally different person with a unique makeup, which means you're not going to be like that. It's not going to go that way for you. So I had to stop watching a bunch of stuff. I know a young lady who would watch other women on social media and how they look and their hair and makeup and body and all of that, and she felt some kind of way by that, because she would look at herself and she would look at them and like, well, this is who people are looking for and this is what they want. Well, not necessarily. And that's one of the things that Maybach said in the message that he had sent me. He was talking about women who get BBLs. Now, listen, I am not by any means knocking these women. This your money, it's your body. You do what you want to do with that. Now, would I do that? No, because I'm naturally there. And if anything needs to be tweaked, I know how to tweak it and make it work. But the question was, are women who have BBLs more socially acceptable and desired because of that? Well, you got, what is your opinion on that, Morgan? Morgan's like, I have no opinion. I don't know.
Oh, I think those types of augmentations are finally on the decline. Um, because there's enough famous folk that are speaking out with them being the ones that had needed to augment this or do that to try to keep up with what quote unquote society is wanting. When the funny thing is, it's like y'all are the ones that really not write the script, but you know what I mean. Folks are following you, and y'all are over
Right.
here following trends that everybody else is setting. Like, I don't know how that's supposed to work out, but I mean, that right there is a question too, as far as measuring up. And I think that it's a good question to ask from a personal standpoint, because in what I do, I have a conversation on the postpartum end by saying, like, there's no such thing as that, I need that snapback, that snapback body, or, I can't wait to get back to me. And it's like, get back to you, what the heck does that mean? Like,
Yeah.
you will never be the person that you were while you were pregnant or before you got pregnant. And the
Never.
person that you are after you give birth is different than those two versions as well. So at this point
Mhm.
in time, you better get used to whoever this person is and start learning out learning who she is, because this is the person you stuck with until you decide to have a whole nother baby. And this is even down to DNA change.
Mhm.
So you can't, again, what's your standard of measurement? Who exactly are you trying to be like? It's okay for you to for you to see certain things that you want to emulate. You know what I mean? Like, there are qualities that I see in you, April, where I'm like, you know what? I want to be more like that. It's not that I want to be like you. It's not
Mhm.
that there is a competition, but this is also a very healthy standard where I can say, this is a person in this area that's done a lot of work, that's done a lot of growth, that I can aspire to have, a character or character traits like.
Mhm.
Whereas there's other people where it's like, girl, that's what you trying, or dude, that's what you want as as, you know what I mean?
Right.
As your ruler. Um, you might want to go back to the drawing board with that.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I'm a firm believer in, you should everybody should accept how you came. Like, there's a reason why you came here with one leg, or with 12 toes, or you know what I mean, with you know what I mean, dimples, or a birthmark some random place, where you know what I
Mhm.
mean. There's always going to be something that we got that we feel like others aren't going to like. But at the end of the day, we are still perfect. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? We are perfect for somebody. We are perfect for ourselves. We are still deserving of love, regardless of how many limbs and, appendages and stuff you got going on. Like, none of that at the end, I think, really matters. Nor can we say that it hinders you from doing things either. We've seen, people do some amazing things with with less.
Right.
So who are you to sit back and really just be like, do I measure up? I mean, you are your own measure. Like I use myself as a ruler. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a constant flow of, exactly how exactly am I growing? If I'm not growing, if I'm not progressing, then that's when it's like, okay, well, am I not measuring up? Am I not putting in enough time? If I not putting in enough effort, have I not given myself or gained the appropriate skills to take me to this next level? Because the funny thing is, as you were talking about being in rooms, sometimes you get invited to rooms and you don't belong there. I've been
Mm.
in rooms where I don't belong, but I didn't belong because what? As far as what the standard was, I didn't meet that. But I was
Mm.
in there because I was supposed to see what the next level was. I was in there
Mm.
because there are other things that I have that qualifies me. So, quote unquote, on paper, I might not have 2 degrees and had 5 years experience in this and done X, Y, and Z. But everything else that I've done allows me to still be able to sit in that room at that table and be able to still have something to say of
Mm-hmm.
value.
Yeah, that's good. That is
So
good.
you can't always still use some measurement to say, oh, okay, we've all been on an Indeed trying to find a job and looking at what those requirements are and then being like, oh, well, I don't have this, so next, let me go look at the next
I'm so
job
guilty
offer.
of that.
Like, you
I'm
feel me? Like,
guilty.
me too. But it wasn't until a friend of mine was just like, but who's to say? If you read that job description and that's something that you feel like that you are capable of doing and you have the skill set, put it in.
Yeah,
Put it in
I need
and
to
and
go back then.
formulate your resume to show that you could be
Hmm.
able to do that. Just the
Yeah.
same as we tell women, put the fact that you've been a stay-at-home mom for 5 years up there. There's a lot in 5 years that you've done that on a
Hmm.
corporate level would help so much.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
don't discredit yourself. Don't count yourself out because, oh, what, you didn't have a formal this, you didn't have a formal that. You know what you're good at. You know what you're not good at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Know what your strengths and your weaknesses are and be able to be honest about those things. And that's what you use as your measurement. Can I do this or can I not? Can I,
Right.
rise to the occasion or can't I? That's that's
Hmm.
that's that's what you asking. Not,
Yeah.
you know, am I good enough? I think we all come to the table with that question though.
Oh yeah.
And as someone who's, healing from like, abandonment, always wondering like, am I good enough? Is like the why me type of deal. It'd be like, well,
Hmm.
why not me? Like once you start
Right.
to flip the perspective on things and I guess don't necessarily not even have a victim mentality, but just really stand in who you are and what you know. You know what I mean? Give yourself a chance to wow you. Once you start to wow you, like I remember the first time I did some stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, I really didn't even think I was gonna be able to pull that off. And everyone was like, oh, that was absolutely amazing. This was so great and da 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 da. I was like, yo, I really did do that. I might actually be the shit. Like what? Like, you know what I mean? And then you get comfortable in that space, and it's like, okay, this is not tooting your own horn. It's just knowing that there is something like this. This is you. You're
Yeah.
showing up, and this is something that you're good at. This is something that you were made to do. This is something that you really have like honed a craft.
Right.
So, do you measure up? Yeah, you do. With some of the
Right.
baddest. Now, walk in that.
Yeah. It builds your confidence up.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, abundance.
So this is just a little. I'm gonna share this with y'all. So when I was growing up, I always been like a heavier set girl, right? And my mom, she raised us to be very confident. So one thing that I started doing, I was like, because somebody, it was like, I can't remember, what the situation was, but I always told people, I said, you can put me beside Beyonce, and baby, we both would strut down that whatever, the runway, the road, or whatever, and that built my confidence because I'm like, in my mind, Beyonce, she's beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I was confident enough to stand beside this woman and strut as well as she can strut, so that was a way of me like measuring up, saying finding that confidence in myself. So it definitely has to deal with confidence. Also, I know
Mm-hmm.
you was talking about like the women getting different types of surgeries and stuff like that. So me also being a plus size woman that lost a lot of weight, that could have went and got a tummy tuck, right? And if I would have went and got that surgery, it wouldn't have been because I'm like, oh my God, men like women with flat stomachs, it would have been
Which is
like,
a lie. I've been told
Yeah.
it's a lie.
it would have been the fact that I want to get rid of this loose skin. So I
Yeah,
think sometimes like the world kind of shuns the women that has the BBLs and get all the surgery done and want to make them feel like they're insecure about themselves and this is why they're getting it done. Not to say that maybe that is the case for some, but I also think a lot of them just do it because they want to do it for themselves. I mean,
mm-hmm.
and like Morgan said, maybe their standard is them, and their standard was to get a BBL. I want a bigger butt, not because men want me to have a bigger butt, but when I look at myself, I want a bigger butt, or I want bigger boobs, or I want a nose job, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So I definitely feel like, just from speaking from my own personal experience, if I was to get some work done, it would be because I want to. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at myself and I'm saying I can improve here and surgery might help me improve here. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing Morgan said when you were talking, you were saying that you use yourself as your measuring tool or your measuring standard, and I find for me personally, that's what I've been doing because I have up until the past 5 years, I was living someone else's life. It wasn't my true, authentic April. So now I don't have to measure myself by anybody because I'm living the way that I want to live and how I've been desiring to do for so many years. But because of everything that had taken place in my life had been suppressed and I never allowed myself to be that way. So it's like I don't have time to look at you and try to emulate you and do what you do because I'm just now coming out and discovering me. So I'm living it with what makes me feel good. And when you talked about being in spaces and places that we probably don't qualify to be in, that was profound because there's a reason for you to be there. Even if you only have one thing to add to the conversation or maybe nothing at all, there's so much for you to glean from that conversation that may be the last piece of the puzzle that you need for your business to now explode just because you were there, just because you were in the room. And even being in the room and you may not say anything, they remember that you were there. So that can now open up opportunity for you to get called back for one thing or another. When I first got on the national board for surgical technology and surgical assisting, I was like, why do y'all even want me? They asked me and I told them no twice. Like, no, I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm good. I had no clue what it was about. It wasn't until that first meeting, that first business meeting, that I was like, what? Had no idea what that board does. And I'm sitting there like, well, why they want me? What I got to say? But I find that they value what I have to say. And if I sit there quiet, then when we take our break, they're like, why are you so quiet? Like, we wait to hear what you have to say. For real? So I'm not thinking anything I say is all that profound because I'm listening to everybody else, but apparently that it is. So I'm measuring myself in a way that I shouldn't because what I have to say does matter. What we have to say, what we do, even if on your resume all you have is a stay-at-home mom like you talked about, I can think about all the creative things that stay-at-home moms do. Like they can come in and take your business to the next level in 30 days where you are now you making this, and now you bought on Fortune 500 as one of the top companies in the corporations in the world because you had a
Yeah.
stay-at-home mom who knew how to make it work. She used her creativity, her ingenuity, all of that to now create something big.
Can I say,
So go
hey,
ahead, go ahead.
so I just want to say this because it's funny that you say that because you know I got a bachelor's in business, but they taught us that in business school. They was like the everyday life skills that you have and that like being a mother and stuff like that. You don't think that it matter, but think about the skills that it takes to be a mother and raise kids. Like one example he gave us, he was like, if you have multiple kids, you can deal with a group of people. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, think about the skill sets that you get from different places in your life, from
Yeah.
being a homemaker or just being, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to say that because they actually teach you that in business school.
Wow. So
Yeah.
all you stay-at-home moms that think you want to go out into into the corporate world or the workforce or whatever, go. You are the blessing that they need. Trust me. The skills that you have are necessary and vital. And you never know. You may go from stay-at-home mom to VP of the company, all because of those skills that you bought. And that is serious that y'all are taught that in business school. Because I would think it would be focused more on all these successful companies, but the everyday thing that you do. So now, do I measure up? Absolutely, I measure up. Absolutely. I would even dare to say single moms, single mothers that have had to raise their children on their own. Man, the things that y'all have learned how to do and move this here and shift this here and make it work there and all of that. Yeah, you measure up because you raise your children. You raise them well. Look at them. Look at what they've done with their lives. Look at how they are now incorporating what you've taught them into that. All right. Jackie says, I believe we all measure up because of who our creator is. The problem is someone made you feel less than, and we believed it. I agree. What do y'all say about that? I'm going to let y'all talk. I'm going to hush.
I mean, I agree. There's always somebody who's gonna, not see the vision or think that you're doing too much or that you're not doing enough type of a thing. But I don't know. I guess I'm not surprised, and I'm glad that in business school that is something that is taught, because think about it. When every business is made to either provide a service or a product that we need to either leave to live or to make our life more convenient, right? So how would it not be that teaching life skills, having to manage multiple personalities and people to get certain things done, having to manage like a household, like at the end of the day that really is what life is. Like everybody's household is a business.
That it is.
So, of course, a single mother who is running the household, as far as the nitty gritty, would be able to do that because there is a sense of organization that needs to be had. You know what I mean? There's a sense of finance that still has to be had. Even if you're not good with money, you're still very much aware of what's going on. If you got enough, if you don't have enough, what things are costing, you know what I mean? Inventory, all types of stuff. So you can go down, down the list of
Mm-hmm.
what is necessary to just hold down a household and
Right.
then understand that that's the same principle for every business and how a business runs at the end of the day. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like the mothers are the CEOs of the house. Like, what I mean? There might be another representative that's out there depending on what, your family dynamic is, but
Right.
especially if you're a single mother, like you playing a whole lot of hats, just like, us entrepreneurs who are doing the whole thing by
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. You know what I mean? I'm HR, I'm the president, I'm the salesperson, I'm the janitor. You know what I mean? I'm the content creator, I'm the everything until we can afford to delegate those responsibilities to, to other team players type of deal. And then even then, it's picking the right people to put into those spaces as well. Or else you're going to be sitting back again going, do I measure up? Because
Right.
now it's like my business isn't project, or it's not moving in the trajectory that it should, even with these people. So, did I not get the right people? Did the vision go askew? Because sometimes that can happen too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and in conversations with people and their ideas,
Right.
you know, that will have you change or second guess or be asking this, do I measure up?
Right. Right.
I just going back to Miss Jackie, I definitely think, hey, she hit the nail right on the head. First of all, with our creator, with God, you know what I'm saying? We got to be like, because we are what? I'm a daughter of the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I feel like if we truly possess that knowing what we are in him, we would move differently in life, like
Yeah.
so different in life. If we really like could visualize and internalize that we are daughters of the king and really move like we are, I feel like it could be different. You know what I'm saying? But that's hard for us to internalize, right? We know it, but we still have that, do I measure up? So
Yeah.
I definitely agree with Miss Jackie when she said that. And just the whole ordeal about measuring up. Like I remember, going back to what Morgan said, I started a nonprofit in 2019, and when 2020 came, I had to shut it down because COVID hit, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
remember starting out, I was just so eager. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just help all these kids and do all this, but I was giving away free services. Nobody, I mean, like nobody would show up, right? And that was because I was looking at these other nonprofits and like measuring my little startup nonprofit to these things right here. And they got all these kids going, but I didn't. And then I had one little kid show up, y'all. And I was over the mountain. Like I was over the mountain. And it was just one little kid. And I was just like, okay, that's my standard. I might not reach billions of people right now, hundreds of people right now, but if I can reach one person, one
Mm-hmm.
kid, that was my standard for my nonprofit. And when I did that, my days got better. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to doing the events, knowing that nobody may not show up, but at least if one person show up, that's a
Mm-hmm.
win. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We
definitely.
have to, it is difficult when you've had someone to say something to you to make you feel like you don't measure up, like there's always something wrong with you. It takes a lot to combat that. It takes a lot to overcome it so you can't. It's a constant. I know for me, I found it to be a constant battle, back and forth, back and forth. Like, yes, you are. No, then they said this, but no, I've done this. And you have to look at the things that you have accomplished, no matter how great or small they are, and continue to fight through that. Because if we succumb to what people have said, especially if it's something negative to not make us feel like we measure up, then we will now just sit on the back, just sit in the back. We never say anything, we never do anything. And then, in my opinion, that's so selfish, because what about the people that need what you have? And because you are allowing what someone has said to you to cause you to just sit down and do nothing, all these people that needed you, that I visualize walking around like zombies, looking, but because they're looking for you, and you sit down hiding, all because of something that someone said. So as we do, and I'm a big, and I know Morgan is too, a big proponent of therapy, because you need to learn the tools to now flip that. One thing that I said, and what my therapist taught me, is to put your thoughts on trial. And when she said that to me, I was like, say what now? She said, if you have a negative thought, or it's a thought or something that someone has said to you that's negative, that makes you feel less of who you are, she said, you need to put that on trial. Can you come up with some concrete evidence to support what was said or what you thought? If you can, then so be it. Do what you need to do to now make those changes. But if you don't have any concrete evidence, no facts, nothing, it's all hearsay, like they say in court. If it's all hearsay, then you need to get that negative thought or what they said to you out of your head. I went through a training with Dr. V, and she said we were doing on saboteurs, and she taught us it takes 3 positive thoughts to counteract a negative one, but that just like neutralizes it. You still need one more positive thought that's going to take you over into the positive side. So don't just neutralize it. You need to get to the side of where you're thinking better of yourself. So for those that are asking, do I measure up? What are those thoughts? Do you have concrete facts, concrete evidence to support that you're not measuring up? Because if you don't, then that needs to be out the window and smashed into pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It goes back. I gotta say this because I had just made a post. It was like you gonna annoy. On my post, I said you gonna annoy some people, and then some people are gonna like you. Either way, do it anyways. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, everybody ain't gonna be your cup of tea. Some people are gonna be your cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? Just do it anyways. Um,
Right.
and I just feel like you will find your people, man. Like everybody, sometimes we want to fit in spaces where we don't measure up in that space. And that's not our space. And we have to learn that it's okay not to be in that space. Every space is not for you. And
Right.
that's just the bottom line.
Right.
Like we're not gonna fit in every space, man. Like I think about myself in so many instances where I went on a retreat a few years ago, right? And after my retreat I realized that my whole life I was searching for like a space, right? I was searching for this just particular space that I felt like I needed to be in, and then everything would just be an aha moment. But after I left that retreat, I realized, I was like, you know what, girl? Like, you are your space. You know what I'm saying? You are your space. And just like April said earlier, when I realized that, people start showing up in my life that were my people, that was going to be the space that I needed to be in. You know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's definitely all about recognizing when you don't belong, recognizing, like you said, April, when you're there to get a lesson or drop whatever you can drop so you can make it to your next level. And also accepting the fact that you're not going to fit in every space, baby. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Right. And even with that, going into a space that, or in a place that you don't feel like you measure up, it's not that you don't measure up. They don't measure to you. Let's flip that. They don't measure to you and who you are. They are not on the level that you need them to be on. We sometimes get it twisted thinking, oh, I don't belong here. They don't belong with you because they can't meet what you need. They don't have you. We don't realize that the level that we're on is greater than what we think. And so we're thinking, oh, this is so grand. It looks so great. And oh, I shouldn't even be here. No, baby, you're even further than them. They don't even know that. And you obviously don't see that in yourself. So it's like when you're trying to find, and I don't know what this came to me, when you're looking for a ministry, and this is going to be good for Kimberly with abundance. I'm going to call you Kimberly. Whatever word come out my mouth, that's what I'm going to call you. So when you're looking for a ministry, a church or something, or a mosque, or any in spiritual place, I won't say it like that. The place that you connect to has to have what you need so that you can now grow and flourish. If I go into a space, into a ministry, and I'm like, but I was in a ministry like that. I'm going to use that example. I was in a ministry where I knew that there was something different about me at that time. I had not tapped into it. So I'm sitting there, and although the people were nice and the pastor preached a good word, I'm like, but I need more. Like, that's not, fulfilling enough for me. And then I realized that the messages were for those that were behind me, like haven't gotten to the level where I was, or the hunger that I needed. Because the stuff he was saying, I'm like, yeah, I already know that. I've already been walking in that. I've already been operating in that. Now take me deeper. Now, when I was in San Antonio and I visited a church there and I listened to the pastor preach, and I was like, oh my God, I found the place. This is where I need to be. And I wasn't even there 30 days, and God sent me here to pimp my city. I'm like, but why? Why? So it's not that we don't measure up for that space. That space ain't measuring up to us. Let's look at it that way. You have more in you than you think, and that space, it can't hold you. You're too large. Oh my, your capacity is too large for this little space you're trying to put yourself in. It's an honor for you to be there for them. They just don't know it yet. You haven't realized it. So you have to find the space that now really is what you need. They need you, but you don't want them to suck you dry. You need to be somewhere higher than what they got going on. And then you get there like, wait a minute, but this is greater than where that was. That's because you belong here. You didn't realize that didn't measure up to you, but they do. So this is where you need to be to get what you need. Oh, this good, y'all. Let's see.
Well,
Hey, Miss Eveline, I see you. Hello. Minister Latrina says, put your thoughts on trial. Yes, right. So when those thoughts come up and they are not favorable, they're not to your advantage, put them on trial. I got this thought. Do I have some concrete evidence? Nope. So then now you go out the window, and 3 to get rid of you and 1 to take me over into the positive. That's it. So for you entrepreneurs out there that don't look at someone else that has the same business. Look at cosmetologists. There are cosmetologists being graduating out in by the droves. And don't think just because someone in your same city or town is flourishing and they have such a large clientele that you're not going to be able to grow yours. You have something different. You're going to offer something different. All the nail salons around here, everything, massage therapists, you got it. But then people are going to try folks out until they find that one that they can connect with. And when they find that one, that's their person. That's it.
yeah, I think if you remain open, like even when I'm taking on clients, I tell them to go shop around. And
Mm,
most times as business owners, excuse me, we don't want to take on people who have shopped around. We want to be the last person, like you done already shopped around and you coming to me because I already done got high. I'm already highly recommended, and you know what I mean. It's not like you're trying to test me and my prices too, but I like to say doula work is vibe work. You know what I mean? I'm not for everyone, just like everyone is not for me. And so you don't want to take on something that's not specifically for you, or put yourself in a situation that's going to take you away from what it is that you're supposed to do, or even love. You know what I mean? There are some people who will get you to hate the very thing that you love doing.
mm-hmm.
That's true.
You
That's
know what I
true.
mean? And so it's you've got to be careful with how you're maneuvering, what you're thinking. Get yourself some affirmations, some personal affirmations and some business affirmations. And those are the things that you continuously speak positivity over. So when you're putting those thoughts on trial, the same way as that you would be asking, if I were to, call you out your name, or say that you possess some kind of characteristics that you don't, you'd be asking yourself, was that kind? Was it true? Was it necessary? These are the things that you would be asking. It's the same exact thing when it comes to your business of as to whether or not you measure up. You know what I mean? Am I working at my greatest potential? Am I giving my all? How exactly do I see this? Because those words that you speak over your business to yourself, the thoughts that you have, to yourself, as well as even just in conversation like us here. You know what I mean? I can call and be talking about my business, but not have anything positive to say about it, and then wonder why it's still sitting in the same space.
Hmm.
Because I didn't speak growth and positivity and what was necessary and what was right and what was truthful about my business. No, I allowed sometimes what, we see in the reality or in the forefront sometimes that will deter us. You know what I mean? But I was like, if you sometimes you got to be able to see beyond. Um, so while I was on this one beach, right, these waves were coming out from the middle of the ocean and they were huge, like almost surf worthy. By the time they got to like the shoreline, it was like it was super super calm. You're expecting it to be coming crashing in and doing all of these things. Then it's crazy, like the little ones were the ones that ended up coming and pushing the tide even further up on the shoreline. So you'd be surprised at sometimes what those buildups, things that look like they've got really, really, really big buildups, end up being things that are very, very small. And sometimes it's the small things that end up having the biggest impact. So you've got to just be, I think, sensitive and um, willing to slow the pace enough to see things for what they are before you start jumping into, I think, the tizzies that we can put ourselves in, and the doubt, and the what do we call it, that we did a show on it, the imposter syndrome,
Yeah,
a space that sometimes we put ourselves in.
right.
Yes.
So yeah.
So it's my turn.
Yeah, I was like,
We
that's
don't
my
have
little 2 cents.
church. You just jump in there wherever.
I felt like we was giving like our final, the little shutdown. Like that's what I felt like we was doing. You went there. And I was like, okay, it's on. So as far as if I had to speak to the people, which I am speaking to y'all right now, it to the question, do I measure up? Me personally, and this is just my own personal experience. Before, just I would say like I'm in a space right now that I'm all about God, right? Like I am putting God at the forefront. I'm asking God to increase my discernment. Lord, if this is not for me, show me like just different things. So if I would have to say is start asking God, like, am I measuring up to you? That's who I want to measure up to. You know what I'm saying? We say, let you be the ruler, let you be the standard. I get that. That's all fan and dandy, and you know what I'm saying? That works. But right now, in my space in my life, I'm asking God every chance I get, am I measuring up in your eyes? Is you know what I'm saying? Like, if not, how do I get better? How do I, you know, fine tooth this comb? How do I become the person that you see me as? Because that's what I'm striving for. That's my finishing statement, ladies.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
There.
Kenyatta says, with the photographic business, her and her husband have one. Some people want to pay $10 with 3 outfits changes and 2 different locations. We work with people, but we bow out gracefully to those who lowball us. We aren't for everyone and we aren't expensive, but we won't be put in a position as such. Absolutely. That goes back to knowing your worth.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
Nipsey Hussle was the best example of that, knowing your worth. I don't know how much y'all know about Nipsey Hussle, but when he was selling his CDs out his trunk, and everybody kept telling him like not to sell it at that price because it was too high, but he was like, I know what I'm worth, so he still kept it at that higher standard, and you know what I'm saying, he got put on. So I feel that, like, know your standard, know your worth, and
Yeah.
Girl, don't
That's
be.
that's important. That's definitely important when you are seeing if you measure up, and if you feel like, oh well, I'm just starting out and maybe I should take what they're offering. That's not the case. That's not
Yeah.
always the case. Your price is your price. Who you are, the box. Who you are is who you are. And if this is what you have denoted as your cost for your services, then that's what it is. Do you modify it? That's if you want to. You don't have to. Like we've said, you're not for everyone, and everyone's not for you. My uncle taught me that all money ain't good money. So, all money, just because you have someone that wants to buy your services or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're worthy of it. That doesn't mean that they measure up to be your customer. And if they don't measure up to be your customer, do not put that kind of headache on you.
Absolutely. As a startup, we all have to take things, and but you are still strategic in what you take. If you knew that that person who was going to pay you $10 for those three outfit changes and wanted that session was going to bring you in 20 more people at your standard price, then yeah, fine. Go ahead and do that $10, because now that is what, an investment, and you know that that's going to come back. If that person is out here, yes, trying to nickel and dime you, they're not going to make a post to try to promote you. You know that your business is not going to be out there more, or you know what I mean. It ends up being still a give and take at the end of the day.
Mhm.
So in services like that, if it's not going to be beneficial to you to take that sale at that point, then the answer is no. I mean, I've had somebody ask me, you know what I mean, for $300 to feed 50 people, and they wanted fried fish as their main protein. And I was like, man, the $300 is barely going to cover the fish for that
Right.
people. Like, you
Exactly.
ain't even paid me for my time. You've barely paid for the food. And you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I mean, these people aren't the business owners. We are. And it's not even for us to even have to explain that bit of it. It's just
Right.
my price is my price. As long as you're not out here being astronomical with things, which obviously, like you said, you weren't. Like, your prices are very fair, and
Mhm.
they're competitive and comparable to the other people that are in your space doing what it is that you do. But at the end of the day, you know what the product that you are producing. And so at no point in time should we ever feel like we're either obligated to have to take some of this, or that because we're so desperate for business
Mhm.
that we accept some of those offers. And like I said, if you know intentionally that taking an offer like that is going to reap a bigger reward for you, then
Mhm.
by all means you do it. I mean, I've taken some where I didn't get paid for myself, it just really paid for the food, or I just barely cut
Broke
even
even.
with it, exactly.
Yeah.
But because I got four or five more clients out of it, I was willing to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
So
as an entrepreneur, you have to weigh which works best for you in that. And that decision has to be ultimately yours, and you have to be happy with that decision. So my mama is on here, and she says, okay, you know your worth, but what if you have others under you in your business? How do you get others to buy in and see your worth and their worth?
people can't, I mean, you can't help somebody see their own worth. They've got to kind of come to the table and the realization themselves. And I think as a business owner, I think we realize very quickly that nobody's going to love your baby the way that you do. Your business is your baby. That's like your child, you know what I mean? You can always find a babysitter who will take care of your child, but they'll probably do about 80% of what you do and not the full 100%. I think that it is important to hire people that value the same things as you do, or at least in the positions that you are hiring and the things that are important for that position, that is high on their list. And then that's how you then get into a better place of working with people where it doesn't seem like they don't value, because at the end of the day it's not theirs. That's, I realized that, like, working in a lot of restaurants, you know what I mean. And I used to have a manager that used to say, treat this like it was your home. And then he realized you can't say that to everybody, because not everybody keeps their home clean.
That's
Hey,
right.
you don't want that spirit, facilitating your restaurant, or else it's not going to yield customers coming back. You know
Run
what
it
I
into
mean?
the ground.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? But that pride of ownership, and I think empowering people,
Mm,
especially if you're starting from, like, especially when you have like younger people, when you empower them to do things, or, for their strong suits and their strengths to be able to come out, and those things are valued, that then in turn makes somebody then value your business a lot more. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I was working with a couple of people, and I was just like, why is it like pulling teeth? This, they came to me saying they wanted to be a part of this, but I still feel like I'm dragging them. Like, how does this make sense? But then I turned around and realized, you know what? If I meet them where they are and empower them for where they are, then I can potentially get more trajectory and more movement out of them. And when I tell you I've seen things from a different light, and now they're moving a whole lot
Mm,
differently, it makes so much more sense. So sometimes that's, it's us knowing how to, once again, manage people,
yeah.
manage personalities, put your aces in your places, know who we're dealing with, and what someone is really capable of. Because sometimes too, we're all guilty of, you know thinking that someone can do something and they can't. Like I said, expecting a monkey to climb a tree. No, I need you to realize, I mean, that the fish, and although it's sitting in the same classroom, might not still be able to do the same thing as the monkey. So we got to
Mhm.
give the fish the responsibilities that a fish can handle, and not expect it to do what the monkey can,
Right.
you know.
I think can I just want to jump in here
Hmm.
to mom's question. One thing that I found useful, you know, is people want to be seen and heard, right? People, everybody, even us, we want to be seen and heard, what I'm saying? Maybe some less than others. But when I think about like the people that I have to work up under me, right? And I'm their boss. I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm a boss. But anyway, so one thing that I've learned is like working with these people is like Morgan said, so of course get to know the person that you with. And of course you ain't got time if you got a bigger organization learning every individual person. But being the worker and now being like the person at the top, I hate to say it like that, but you know what I'm saying, being the person that
Why?
I'm just, it sounds so like, but I
No.
I have been in both spaces and I try to keep myself grounded in that area. I have to be like, okay, I remember how it felt when I was here and I felt like my boss was not hearing me or seeing me. And then I also kind of self check myself and say, am I listening? You know what I'm saying? What they are doing, is it because they're acting out? And I know people be like, everybody grown and we don't want to have to deal with that. But you're dealing with human beings, man. Like it just sometimes you have to take that extra initiative and say, yeah, they grown and they, what I'm saying, being whatever type of way. But just take an extra step, what I'm saying, to see. Sometimes jobs be like, don't bring your home life to your job. How many of us do that? But you know what I'm saying? we try to balance it. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say is consider your people. Remember, you were once in that space. What did you feel like you was lacking when you got into that space where you wasn't, performing to your full potential? What put you there? And so kind of think on the lines boss and worker, keep a healthy balance of it.
Yeah. And also too, depending on the size of your business, like I know my mom's business and how she has the center. Um, Observing your workers, because in your observation of their actions, you can see where they excel and the areas that they may need more on. And then putting them in the place where they excel helps the business, and it gives them a sense of pride in what they do. And this question, our topic of do I measure up? They will feel that they do because they are in a space where they can now fulfill who they are and what they are capable of doing. Now, do we need to be developed in some areas? Absolutely. You can also see that these workers are okay in an area, but if they got a little more training or a little more insight, a little more ideas that will make them excel in that area as well, then do that. For larger corporations to do that, they need to develop teams or have a manager or something to be over a team to now observe the team just for that. It can happen in the larger corporations. It's about delegation and strategically putting people where they can now do that. So now you have a manager or supervisor for a department or for a team that's monitoring the work of the people and saying, okay, Amy is good at this and John, he's good at this part. And so then looking at your structure of your corporation to see where can I plug them, because it may require them to be elevated to a different position or change to a different department because they're going to excel more. That's all for the benefit of the corporation, all for the benefit of the company. So like you said, nobody's going to have the same drive and desire and excitement that we do for our businesses because it's our baby. It was our dream. It was birthed from us. You can let them know by your excitement and the giving them the history and all of that, but they got to have their own place where they fit in. And we as the owners, the CEOs, we have to find those places to help them in that area. And I believe that if we get them in a place where they are growing like that, it will make them know they measure up, and then they'll want to expand and do more. Like, I've really been interested in doing this. Do you have a place for me here where I can kind of do both, or maybe move up to that, or however it may be? It's all going to be for the greater good of the business or the corporation. So I like that. So our topic this evening was, do I measure up? And we talked about what standard are we using to determine if we measure up or not? Are we looking at other people, especially for entrepreneurs? Are you looking at other people who have the same type business that you have? Are you comparing yourself to them? Or are you going by your own self, by your own thoughts and opinions of you and what you need to do? Don't compare yourself to them. You offer something greater than they do. There's one little piece or a couple of pieces that make you different than them that will have folks come to you. There are a lot of consulting businesses, a lot for surgical technology. There's a couple of them that I know of. But what I have and who I am and what I offer and the receipts that I have to show say something different, where people would know that they're going to get, not saying they're not going to get quality from someone else, but that extra touch that I can give, that extra piece to it. I'm not going to look at another company and say, well, maybe I shouldn't because this. No. It's just like there's so many millions and billions of people in the world. Every business, every corporation, every company can be filled with customers, filled with money because the people are here. It's about finding your place and realizing that you do measure up. Make sure you're not saying that I don't measure up to be with them when it's them that don't measure up to be with you. You are the one. It's like, when we use this all the time, and I think a lot of men hate to hear this, but when we are looking for a spouse, they tell us all the time, we the prize. They got to get the prize. And the
Yes,
men are
yes.
like, ah, ah, ah. Hey, listen, I read that he that finds a wife findeth a good thing and what? Obtains favor. So sounds like we the prize to me. We gonna say that for another time. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Sounds
However,
like he said, she said,
that's what
coming
he
up.
said, she said, right. And I know it's gonna be some talk on that one. But before we get out of here, Morgan, you have any final words, anything that you want to say?
um, no, I just can't wait till next week. I got a topic that's burning, and I think really going to be something that's
All right.
different and interesting. You know how I was like, we like to sometimes stretch
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and patterns and do things differently. So we're
Well,
going
definitely let me
to
know.
do some stretching. Yeah, well,
I'm
I'm gonna
looking
send you a
forward
chat.
to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Hey, well, the last thing that I have to say, I'm going to always shout out or say something about my businesses. And I got to bring my books in here. I keep forgetting to bring one of my books. If you haven't ordered my book, you better get it before I drop this new one that's getting ready to
Yes.
come out soon. I still have copies of Intentional You, A Push to Destiny, Volume 1. Volume 2 will be out in about a month or so
Yeah.
for purchase. But also, Envision You, baby. Now, listen, people are sleeping on this company, they're sleeping on these products, and y'all should not. Now, this here is the coffee. This is premium organic coffee. And guess what? We just released, I think a week or two ago, matcha tea. For those of you that love tea, you drink the tea instead of the coffee, you better get with your girl to get this organic premium matcha tea that's going to be helpful for so many areas in your body. Now, I don't drink coffee, but I drink this every day, and I'm not hooked on it because there are sometimes I may go a day or two without it, and I don't have all of the withdrawals that you do with the regular coffee you buy in the store. We don't have that, but it gives me what I need and it helps me in a number of areas. And yes, I'm gonna put this plug, and it is not a shameful plug, it is shameless. All right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm an entrepreneur. Why would I not promote my business, right? Come on, who wouldn't
There
do
you
that?
go.
So, y'all, if you have topics, we're gonna get off here. But if you have topics that you want us to discuss, as you see, we go all over the place. We touch everything, and we always equate it to entrepreneurship and to personal life as well. Because we want to encourage, uplift, push, promote you to your destiny, to your calling, to where you want to be. And there may be one little thing that we say on the show that will benefit you. Just like Kimberly said with her nonprofit, if she had one child that she had in her program, then she's made a difference just for the one. If there's at least one of you that gets something from what we have on our show, then we have accomplished our goal. But you got a responsibility. We're going to put y'all to work. Like, tag, and share. Subscribe to House of Peach so you know what's going on with us. We are here every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we love having you guys on. We love for you to join us. We love all of the support, all of the comments, everything, the guests that come on. We had an amazing one, Dr. Tamara Na Izani, last week, who just, oh my goodness, she blessed me so much. So we have great things coming up with more guests, more great topics, and we want you to be a part. So I'm done. And we've done. I think we've talked well. We've had an amazing show. We're going to see y'all again next Monday at the same time. Have a prosperous and fruitful week. And until then, see y'all later.
Bye.